Welcome back, everyone, to a real horror show. I appreciate you guys being here. So, this is a book review of Clockwork Orange. It's my first book that I wanted to read for a while. I wanted to read this, Fahrenheit 451 and 1984. So, those are three books I'm trying to read this year because I was told they're all kind of like the same thing, like government control and all that. So, I was like, dude, we gotta give this a freaking try. Before I get into deeper of my thoughts of it, I thought this book would be a 4.5. I gave it a 4, which is still good, clearly. So there's that. I think it was a really fun book to read. So yeah, anyways, we're going to talk about more stuff. I guess slight spoilers. Yeah, I'm just going to say spoilers. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I wrote down notes, and I'm like looking at them. I don't think it's spoiler, but just in case, So what I usually do with reviews is usually I say, I have my likes, my dislikes, but this book is a lot different than my usual taste because it's just so different than I usually have ever read a book like this. And the biggest thing that I just really didn't comprehend or didn't really like a lot was the system of how it was written. This might be one of the hardest books I've ever read and tried to understand because there's a lot of slang in the way that the narrator, which is Alex, the main character in this, he is writing to you, and he likes to tell you that he is the humble narrator a lot. And he's like a 16-year-old kid, and the way that he talks in this book is honestly really difficult to read. Like, if you go in this book expecting to be like, wow, this book is going to be a pretty easy read, because it is. It's 200 pages. Like, I thought this book would take me like a day. No, it did not. It took me a couple days because I was trying to understand what the hell I was reading. And that was like the biggest difficulty. I almost put the book down, but I read until, because there's 3 separate parts in this book, I almost quit reading, and then I got to part 2, and that's where I really started picking up. Because I was trying to figure out what in God's name is going on. And in the first part, that's how I'm going to do the rest of this review. I'm going to talk about each part, and then go from there. But the first part of this book is Alex is in a gang with a couple of his friends. And when I'm saying a gang, I mean like a legit gang. And in this world, violence is at an all-time high. Like, people are just like offing other people and doing SA and raping people and just a lot of stuff like that. And Alex is a part of that. And you find out that Alex enjoys doing this. Like, he doesn't have a reason why he does it besides just the sheer joy of it. And right off the rip, you just like expect him to, like, I don't know. I didn't really like him at all. Like, in the first part, even how this book ended, I'm still like 50-50. I actually just finished this book, so I really want to talk about it, like, now. But even now, I don't know if I'm like, man, I'm still on Team Alex's side, because I don't think I am. Because he did a lot of cruel things. And the book starts off in the first part where Alex and his gang are killing people and just doing violent things to people. And it's just bad. Like, there's a writer in here, and he breaks into their house, and they do things to his wife. And Alex notices a piece of paper that says Clockwork Orange on it. And I was like, oh, all right, interesting. And you develop a lot more things, and Alex eventually and his gang ends up killing a lady with a bunch of cats, that she had a bunch of cats, and he said, oh, we're just messing with her. But he thinks it's like messing with people. He doesn't believe this is actually like trying to hurt people. He thinks it's like a joke. And it's just disgusting with the way that his mind works. And he gets caught with that, and then he goes to prison. Now, the prison isn't like a regular prison. It's for a government controlled thing where they are trying to change people's mindsets that are violent. It's like shock therapy, essentially. The doctor does is he explains to him, he's like, oh, he's malnourished. We're going to give you your food and then your vitamins. But it's going to be vitamins where we stick a needle in your arm. And those are going to be vitamins because you're very malnourished. So there's a lot of times where Alex, through the second part, Alex is getting up and constantly he's falling, trying to like stand and stuff. And in his head, he tells you, oh, it's because I'm malnourished. The doctor told me it's malnourished, but it's actually what they're putting inside of his body, this, I guess, injection. And while you're reading that, they put him in a room, and that's why, like, I always was wondering why. Like, I never knew what the movie was because they put things in like his lens and make him go like this to make him not close his eyes. And he's like strapped down, and they're making him watch like horrific movies of murder and like people, there's horrendous stuff. And there's times where Alex is screaming, "Stop it, stop it, stop it." Like he is so traumatized by this and he's feeling sick. He's like, he doesn't know why he's feeling sick. The more I'm just sitting back, I'm just like, what is going on through this book? You know, especially just because you're trying to understand, for one, and it's really hard to try and understand what's going on in this book because of how Alex writes it. But while you're reading it, you're just so, oh man, I don't know. It was really dark and deep. And Alex would ask him, and there was one scene that really hit me even now. So Alex is a big fan of classical music. And there was a video that they were showing him, and he was like, stop it, you know. And they finally were like, why? And he's like, you're disrespecting this music. He's like, I don't want any music played while I'm watching these movies. These movies I don't care about. It's the music. And it's like the Fourth Symphony and Mozart and Beethoven. That's what he likes. So when that music is playing in the background, and then the doctors just kept playing it anyways. So he ended up being there for like 2 years. And everyone thought he was gone for 5 years. And he's like the first one to leave the institution as a new man. And every time he wants to do violence, he's always sick. It was because of that vaccines inside of him that made him sick. And now there's something in his mind that like is twisting while he is like, he can't do violence anymore, or he gets really sick. And the rest of the book, part 3, is when he is actually gone. He's away from this place. I keep calling it institution because that's kind of what it is. And what happens is Alex meets the author that his friends and him did stuff to his wife, and then this author actually saves Alex because Alex is beaten up and all this from police and from other members and all this. And this guy helps bring Alex back. And this guy eventually takes Alex back to the institution where they're just like we're friends, Alex, we're friends, and all this. It's just, it's a lot. Like, it was, for a 200-page book, there's a lot going on. And I'm going to say the ending, the last chapter, is actually really sad. Because Alex, like I said, spoilers. I've been kind of spoiling most of this. The ending apparently was a controversial ending in like 1962, whenever this book was. I think it was 62. I think it was 62 or 63 is when this book was published. But apparently it was a very controversial ending. And the ending, I don't know why it was, because it was a pretty good ending, if you ask me. It just made Alex seem very human at the end, because he meets one of his old gang members that he was doing the gang stuff with before he got captured. He meets him that he's like married and he's got like having a kid, and that's what Alex realizes that's what he wants. And I'm like, I don't know how this is bad. Oh man, this book was wow. That's all I kind of have to say. I can't really like go further in that because it's only 200 pages, but this book was really good. Like, the more I sit back and think about it, this book was really good. It's such a deep level of thinking that I didn't realize that it was going to be like that. And after reading Winter's Heart, I needed something like this. And what happened is, once I finished part 1, I read part 2 and 3 in like a day, because it was just, I couldn't stop reading it. And all the chapters are pretty short. But yeah, the most difficult thing about this book is the content but he does so much slangs where you actually didn't know what he was talking about in some aspects. I had to reread after the first read. You'll be like, oh my gosh, that's what it is. So I had those elements while I was reading this. And with, like I said, the beginning, it was kind of rough, but it was mostly just like the way that he uses these words and talking. Like, that's why, like, he does like a lot of things. He says real horror show, and I had no idea what he was talking about, or he talked about doing like ultra violence and stuff. It's just a lot of words that you're like, what in God's name is this man talking about? But other than that, I really did enjoy this book. It was fun. I'm glad I read it. Now I'm going to be reading either Fahrenheit 451 or 1984. We'll see which one. Either or, I'm going to read both of them this year. So probably maybe June I'll read Fahrenheit 451, because I can't wait. And then maybe September I'll read 1984 and be done with these government control books. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. Make sure you guys check out all my socials down below. And of course, make sure you guys stay safe, stay hungry, and tell someone you love them. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.